David Pakman covered an amazing story about President Trump that somehow was off my radar. This is from a few weeks ago. Check it out. This is unreal.
Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe visited the White House and met with Donald Trump at the start of the weekend. They did the typical thing where they come out at the White House to these matching podiums. They give some remarks. Shinzo Abe spoke Japanese. And you might recall that typically when you've got a visiting world leader who speaks a language other than English, the U.S. president will wear an earpiece, as do members of the media sitting in the crowd, so that they can understand what on earth is being discussed, because they may not speak the language of the visiting dignitary or world leader. You might know where I'm going with this. Numerous reporters noticed that Donald Trump was not wearing an earpiece for a whole bunch of Shinzo Abe's comments. And Rebecca Ballhaus, the Wall Street Journal's White House reporter, sent out a tweet with a picture saying, Trump does not appear to be wearing an earpiece to translate Prime Minister Abe's remarks. Then we saw a tweet from William Edwards, who's the AFP news agency's video correspondent, saying, our White House correspondent points out Trump doesn't seem to have a translation earpiece, isn't listening to a word Abe is saying. Now, here's the clincher, and this is just rich. Trump was nodding along while Shinzo Abe was speaking as if he understood Japanese, even though obviously he couldn't understand a word of what was being said. I'm going to play a little video and audio for you. We're going to be able to hear the live translation. But the key thing is, Trump can't hear this. He doesn't have an earpiece in, but look at him nod along, pretending like he understands Japanese.
6 months for me to visit the United States. The last time was in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, at the end of last year. I am indeed sincerely grateful for the always heartwarming welcome accorded to me by the American people. I would also like to express my sincere gratitude to President Trump. Donald, you must have been very busy.
Check out this hilarious report from CNN about this.
The president was standing there, but not able to understand likely what the prime minister was saying because he did not have his translator earpiece in.
Now, you guys know me, and usually, like 95% of the time, if I'm criticizing President Trump, or anybody for that matter, I'm talking about policy, and I'm talking about, an area where I think they're radically wrong, and I try to explain why I think they're wrong. So you know that when I criticize somebody over something that is not policy related, man, it must be so outrageous and so ridiculous that it's above and beyond scrutiny, where there's no counter argument, where somebody can say, no, it's cool because this and this and this. That's a child, man. That's a child. That's how a toddler acts. It shows you, okay, he's not at all interested in what the Prime Minister of Japan is saying, and he's in over his head. Now, Pakman goes on to mention in his segment on this, and by the way, check out the whole thing. He says, look, if I was president, the first thing I would do if I'm told, oh, you're going to meet with the Prime Minister of Japan, or you're going to meet with, Angela Merkel from Germany, the first thing is, okay, so the language barrier, what's their proficiency in English? Can we have a conversation in English? Will the event be in English? If not, will we have a translator? Will there be in real-time translation? How, the language barrier, what's the deal with that? And, I was thinking about it, and I thought the same thing. Like, it's not something I think about now because I'm not in that position, but if I was in that position and they told me, whatever, you name the place, it could be the leader of Kazakhstan, and I'd say, oh, okay, so, like, how are we going to communicate? That is the first question. Trump apparently was told, oh, you're going to do, a press conference with the Japanese prime minister. And tremendous, believe me. Let's go out there. And then he talks, and then he stops talking. Shinzo Abe starts talking, and he just looks around. Sad. Believe me. Let me just tell you. What are you doing? He's just standing there, empty head, looking around. Now, later on, apparently somebody whispered to him or told him or something, and he noticed, oh, right here in front of me is the earpiece that I put in that gives me the translation. And he's like looking, acting like nobody saw that, right? No, we saw you, dude. Could you imagine? I don't care. You guys know, I did the report card on Obama. I went in excruciatingly painful detail. I went through all the pluses, all the minuses, and I gave him a grade. You know, I gave him a 67. There were some things that were horrific, some things that were good. So I'm no over-the-top Obama apologist, where everything he did was good. But you know damn well Obama would never do that, because he's not an idiot. He has a high enough IQ to piece together what he should be doing when another world leader is talking. Oh, it's so sad. It is embarrassing. There was a poll recently, and a majority of Americans are embarrassed about Trump, and how he presents the U.S. to the world. It's hard to argue with that when you look at something like this, man. I mean, it really reminds me of having George W. Bush again. That's what it is. It's George W. Bush again. George W. Bush, goofy bastard who wasn't that smart either. I want to let everybody know, you fool me once, shame on you. You fool me, can't get fooled again. Oh, no. That's the kind of stuff our enemies never stop thinking about how to hurt our people. And neither do we. It's lapses in judgment, but so often that you realize, oh, they're not that perceptive, and it's just not that bright. It's just a dim bulb. I see the same thing here with Trump. So it was both a hilarious and sad segment here that I somehow missed, but now you know it ain't pretty, and there's not much going into Trump's head that's staying there and that's really having an impact. And he's not a very thoughtful person, and this is another example of it here.